A group of sea life researchers acknowledged they weren't in that frame of mind in the wake of finding what seemed, by all accounts, to be a yellow block street on top of an undersea mountain close to Hawaii. Others commented that the stones were suggestive of an altogether different fictitious world. "It's the way to Atlantis," one scientist said. The yellow rocks, isolated from one another at perfect 90-degree points, structure a limited strip and appear as though they were cut and organized by human hands. Nonetheless, the cleared street was essentially the regular consequence of antiquated volcanic action a great many feet underneath the water's surface. For those of you that don't have the foggiest idea of what Atlantis is, here's a little understanding of the baffling lost city. The possibility of Atlantis, the lost island subcontinent frequently admired as a high-level, idealistic culture holding intelligence that could bring world harmony, has dazzled visionaries, soothsayers and New Agers for ages. A large number of books, magazines and sites are given to Atlantis, and it stays a well-known subject. Individuals have lost fortunes, and at times even their lives, searching for Atlantis. Not at all like numerous legends whose starting points have been lost in the fogs of time, we know precisely when and where the account of Atlantis previously showed up. The story was first told in two of Plato's discourses, the Timaeus and the Critias, expounded on 360 BC. However, today Atlantis is frequently imagined as a serene perfect world. The Atlantis that Plato portrayed in his tale was altogether different. In his book, Reference Book of Dubious Archaeology, teacher of prehistoric studies Ken Fetter noticed that in Plato's story, Atlantis isn't a spot to be regarded or copied by any means. Atlantis isn't the ideal society. An incredible opposite, Atlantis is the exemplification of a tangibly well-off, innovatively progressed, and militarily strong country that has become debased by its abundance, complexity, and may. As publicity in Plato's ethical quality story, the Atlantis legend is more about the city's gallant opponent Athens than an indented development. Assuming Atlantis existed today and was found flawless and occupied, its inhabitants would most likely attempt to kill and subjugate every one of us. Plato made up Atlantis as a plot gadget for his accounts since there could be no different records of it elsewhere on the planet. There are numerous surviving Greek texts, most likely another person would have likewise referenced, in some measure in passing, such a noteworthy spot. There is essentially no proof from any source that the legends about Atlantis existed before Plato expounded on it. In his book Meet Me in Atlantis, Across Three Continents in Search of the Legendary Lost City, Mark Adams makes sense of how a generally average Greek legend turned out to be so well known. It was because of a Minnesota man named Ignatius Donnelly, 1831–1901. Donnelly was a congressman and novice antiquarian who guaranteed, in his 1882 book The Antediluvian World, that all incredible advances in human progress and innovation could be followed back to the tragically missing island referenced by Plato. However, Donnelly went past only advocating Plato's story, he added his very own portion of realities and thoughts that have become a piece of the Atlantis fantasy. Donnelly advanced what is presently called diffusionism, the possibility that everything in extraordinary societies can be followed back to a solitary source. Adams portrays Donnelly as the main incredible Atlantis fundamentalist, in that he accepted that Plato's story was really precise beyond the heavenly components like Poseidon. Donnelly sent a duplicate of his book to Charles Darwin, who thought that it is fascinating yet unpersuasive. Understanding it, he said, in an exceptionally distrustful soul. Adams, after poring over quite a bit of Donnelly's materials, reaches a comparative resolution. Donnelly was a pack of winds. He knew the outcomes he needed and scavenged through his sources looking for just those realities that fit his necessities, without stopping to take note of any sensible questions. Afterwards, less suspicious essayists expounded on Donnelly's hypotheses, adding their perspectives and theories. These included spiritualist Madame Blavatsky, in her 1888 book, The Secret Doctrine, and renowned clairvoyant Edgar Cayce during the 1920s. Cayce, who put a fundamentalist Christian twist on the Atlantis story, gave mystic readings for a huge number of individuals, a considerable lot of whom, he guaranteed, had previous existences in Atlantis. Sadly, none of the data was evident, and Casey wrongly anticipated that the mainland would be found in 1969. Since we have made sense of what Atlantis is and its beginnings, how about we jump into the reports of the baffling yellow block pathway that has been found on the antiquated undersea mountain. The yellow rocks, isolated from one another at perfect 90-degree points, structure a limited strip and seem as though they were cut and organized by human hands. Be that as it may, the cleared street was just the normal after effect of antiquated volcanic movement a great many feet beneath the water's surface. At the culmination of Nootka Seamount, the group detected a dried lake bed development, presently eyed as a broke progression of hyaloclastite rock, a volcanic stone shaped in high-energy emissions where many stone parts settle to the seabed, the analysts composed. The surprisingly block-like divisions between the stones are reasonable, the unplanned consequence of warming and cooling stresses from different volcanic emissions for more than a large number of years, the group added. The specialists brought a diversion down this scary undersea street while steering a remotely worked vehicle, ROV, around the Papahanaumokuakea Marine National Monument, a safeguarded preservation region incorporating around 582,578 square miles, 1,508,870 square kilometers, of the Pacific Ocean northwest of Hawaii. The undertaking is essential for the Ocean Exploration Trust's Nautilus Exploration Program and means to examine the antiquated seamounts close to Liliuokalani Ridge, at the landmark's western edge. One of the group's fundamental objectives is to gather land tests from the area's seamounts, submerged mountains shaped by volcanic action, to more readily grasp their ages and beginnings. Realizing this may likewise yield new bits of knowledge into the arrangement of the Hawaiian Islands. The specialists composed on the Nautilus site. The group will likewise gather microbial examples to concentrate on what sorts of weirdo creatures have figured out how to flourish close to the profound, submerged volcanoes of the Pacific. Our investigation of this never-before-reviewed region is assisting scientists with investigating life on and inside the rough slants of these profound, old seamounts, the specialists added. Past endeavors on board the Nautilus research vessel have turned up a lot of startling marine peculiarities. During a 2018 trip to the Papahanaumokuakea Marine National Monument, specialists were puzzled by a wriggling, googly-peared animal that appeared to change shape while before the camera. Analysts later recognized the animal as a gulper eel, Eurypharynx pelecanoides, an inconceivably huge-mouthed fish that can unhinge its gigantic jaw to swallow prey much bigger than itself. The scientists controlling the ROF during that campaign likewise answered the unusual sight before them with a social reference. That's it for today's video. If you enjoyed the video, please let us know by hitting the like button. And if you like this type of content, then be sure to subscribe so you never miss an upload. Thank you for watching.